live. This is your host Rob here, SnapBacks and FlatCaps. Shout out to everyone joining us here. Today we'll be speaking with a personal trainer, nutrition specialist, I would like to say, Asa Active. How you doing, man? You alright?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling okay. You know what it is I'm in a I know all the gyms are shut in the UK, but they are also now shut. The gyms are also now shut in Malta, where I'm currently at. So,
oh no!
As of yesterday as well.
Have they been open the whole time?
The whole time, yeah, the whole time. So I'm going back to London and saying, you guys, the gym's shut, and I just look like a prick, don't I? So yeah, now it's just an absolute mess, isn't it? Really. But what can we do? So I can be grateful that they were open for that long in itself, because I know in the UK. They weren't open for an extended period of time, and now they might open in April, right? I think.
Yeah.
But I think
it's about 4 weeks, so we're about 4 weeks away from the gyms reopening.
Yeah. So how have you found it? Because I know how has it affected you in the way of working with? Oh, he's gone. Working with clients and everything else, and everyone with this whole working outdoors, being able to train out in parks and all these kind of stuff. How you find it? Because I don't think prior to lockdown you were working out of a gym, were you? I'm not sure. Can you fill us in a little bit?
I've been working out of a gym for the most of my career. I've done a few. I used to do a lot of home visits, and actually when I first started as a PT, I used to train people in the park. But that seems like a lifetime ago. But yeah, so to be honest with you, it was actually, in a way, it was very nice to revisit the park environment as a more experienced trainer.
Okay.
And to bring to the table some stuff that I learned and picked up, over those years. Because when we first, we look at how we started and the programs we were delivering back in the day, and you cringe a little bit. So it was really good to just go back to the park and just get back to that style, really. I put a lot of clients online as well, so I see a lot of people, most people I see online now, because it's a little bit cold, which has been effective. It's been really an effective way of training. I've managed to reconnect with some older clients of mine, which has been really interesting. People that have moved away previously, when people moved away, you would be like, all right, well, that's it, It's nice to know you. Enjoy your life. I'll see you if you're ever back around.
How does that work when you're doing it online then?
So you have to try and work with what you've got. Yeah. You can ask people to buy kit, but I've tried to not get people to spend too much money on stuff and just try and elicit the strength with what they've got, basically, and in the space that they've got. But it is very effective.
Yeah, because I did wonder.
I had to drop the time of the session from 45 minutes to half an hour.
Okay.
Because a lot of my clients couldn't keep up with just the intensity of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, there seems to be, just a lot more. Even if you think about the online working from home, just general online sessions as a whole, I always wondered how that would affect people, where you have to be physically with them most of the time, which is like personal trainers, etc., or any kind of training at all. Do you feel like you get the same interaction with people in that way, or is it better to do it face to face?
I think they're very different, actually. I think they're different. When you're training somebody online, you have to be really good with your language. So in the gym, I can just come over, grab you, move you into the position I want you to be into, and you understand it straight away. Whereas online, you have to try and verbalize that, and that is difficult sometimes, but it's definitely doable. I've been training a couple online since March last year, so this is a year that we've done online, and they're very, very happy. They're making the strength gains, making the cardiovascular gains that they feel like they need to be making. So it is super effective. It has been working really well.
So let's go back to the beginning now. You've been a personal trainer for 12, 11 or 12 years? Is it 12 years now? Probably this year, right?
I think it's 12 years.
Yeah.
One of my clients corrected me. I think it was at 12. Yeah.
So, what made you want to get into this field? Because that's a long time to spend it there. And what have you learned in that period? Because that's quite an extensive period, over 10 years, over a decade of working in the field. Why did you get into it? And how much has it changed from when you started to now?
I initially got into training other people because I loved training myself. And it was just a lifestyle that I led naturally. Even when I was a labourer and a bartender and a dishwasher in a restaurant, you know, after shift, I would go with some of the bods and we would go to the gym and we would do a few bits and bobs in the gym. And I must say that in those days, it was a lot of the stuff that my late older brother taught me because he was also a personal trainer. And he was the one that took me to the gym initially. And that's who I learned a lot of my stuff from in those days. And then eventually I managed to get the qualification and it sat in the back and I did 2 or 3 sessions a week, you know, and I did my other job and it just built and built and built. And here we are today.
That's good. So it's the glow up as well. The glow up as well. That's nice. And that's it. And do you feel like there's a massive change in the knowledge that since 100%. You started to now, like what's 100%. been the biggest updates that you found?
I think when I started, sports science was very young. It still is, and it was very murky, and it still is. But it's starting to have a little bit more clarity now. So that's really good that you can inform people with information that is strong and has a good background. Yeah, so that's one thing that's changed massively. Another thing that's changed massively is the volume of trainers in the market now as well, which is great. I was about to say, yeah. Competition is fantastic. You know, it's a really, really good thing. It pushes people to be a little bit better, to learn a little bit more, to come at it with a different angle. And so I'm happy to see a lot of trainers in the business and spreading their views on health and fitness. That's a very good thing.
Yeah, because I've definitely seen that over, definitely at least, I would say more so over the last 5 years or so. Everybody is a PT now. Everyone's a PT. I'm a PT now. I'm also a PT. I'm a PT. I'm a PT. And I'm like, something's wrong here. I feel like not everybody can be a PT, man. I feel like it's not that easy. Some guys just, especially some of the people that I've known and I speak to who were, let's say, doing something completely different work-wise, and now they're like, yeah, I'm going to be a PT. I'm like, I didn't even know there was an basically, if a guy thinks he can do a press-up, he thinks he can be a PT sometimes, you know?
I feel where you're coming from. But it's not my style to sort of say to people to not do it. But what I will say is that it is something that is a lifestyle. You know, people often look at established trainers and they look at, you know, the money, the hourly rate, and it's, you know, and the lifestyle that they live, and that's what they want for themselves. But actually, you know, it's a way of living, and you either live that way or you don't. And if you don't, I would advise that you don't become a PT. If you do live that way, by all means, you know, hop on board and spread the good word.
Yeah, I would say so. It's interesting. It's interesting to watch, especially with everything that's happening in lockdown now. It's happened with DJs as well. Every DJ now has either moved to Twitch or moved to Instagram Live. And I've noticed a lot with the PTs that they're doing a similar sort of thing. They're doing the home workouts. One of the most popular one at the moment is the Joe Wicks one, where he's done the massive everyday one, and that's become really, really successful. And I think his journey is quite an interesting one as well, because it's someone who's started really basic, and then he came up with this idea of the kind of nutrition side of it and making the videos that way, and that built a lot of traction and built his brand like that, and then it's gone into cookbooks and it's just snowballed from there. So that brings me to one of the most important parts now is the social media aspect of it. Especially someone who's been in it for a number of years, you'll definitely notice 10 years ago, I can't imagine social media being as active as it is now when it comes to promoting your brand. I know that your whole page is very much based on, it's kind of very uniformed. I don't think it was always like that, but there was a stage where I was flicking through. Yeah, there was a stage where I was flicking through and I was like, there's definitely a direction he wants to go with his brand. And this is how, like, just the structure of it. So how did you come up with that whole, and what was your thinking behind everything on there?
To be honest, I haven't. I just think of topics that I come across in my day-to-day that I think are topics that I should speak on. And I put together a little post and I put it out there 2 or 3 times a week. And that's what I just try and do. Speak about topics that I think people need to hear or they want to hear. And I just put a little something together and just put it out there to be heard.
Yeah.
So I haven't got to the stage yet where I'm putting a lot of thought process into how it looks as an actual page.
Yeah.
If we go back, you say my personal development, if we go back 3 years, I had a Nokia phone and a paper diary.
Okay.
So I never had a smartphone. In fact, I don't even think it was 3 years ago. I think it might have even been 2.5, maybe it is 3 years this year.
Yeah.
But certainly most of my clients knew me for a long time that if I wrote your name in the paper diary, unless you could get a hold of me with a phone call or an actual text message, that's your session. That's non-negotiable. So actually for me, getting a smartphone is a relatively new thing. And I'd already joined Instagram and it was already a very saturated market with a lot of personal trainers and fitness coaches putting their spiel on things.
How do you stay ahead of that as well? Because I know we spoke a little bit about the competition as well and about the fact that the saturation, especially on social media, of personal trainers and just fitness gurus in general. How does that, do you feel a type of way about that? Do you feel like, oh, everyone's trying to do it? Do you feel like, okay, there's misinformation out there, people are misdirecting people?
I think it's definitely a lot better than it was a few years back. How do I feel about the competition? I feel like the competition is good, and I think that any good trainer won't spend any time down talking other trainers. In fact, they would try and build them up as well. If you're really confident and you know what you're talking about, you don't need to trash talk another trainer or their style. Your methods will speak for themselves. And so that's what I really try and focus on, is I just try and focus on putting out the best information that I can, delivering the most up-to-date information that I can. And when other trainers approach me, I'm always positive and I give them good advice to help them progress their business and their stuff like that. So I'm not in the school of thought of trash talking other trainers. I think it's a good thing that people come to personal training because they have a passion for fitness and health and fitness, and they spread the good word. And frankly, Rob, the fitness industry is massive.
Yeah.
Right? There's enough
to go around.
Enough to go around.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reality is that when I'm training you, if I get you from A to B, I've helped you to go from A to B. I'm at no risk of any other trainer coming along and poaching my business. That doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Because the reality is that I've helped that client get to where they want to be.
Yeah.
And so why would they
go somewhere else? Yeah.
Why would you go somewhere else?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. Okay. The only time it happens is when somebody relocates or if somebody wants to try another style. So I've had clients of mine that have left me and gone tennis coaching, which they want to spend the money on their tennis coach, want to improve their tennis, which is fantastic. And that's the only, or if there's been many, many years gap and now you're in a different place to where you was with the last trainer. So this, I don't get too caught up with the competition. I help those around me to grow as much as they can. I offer advice where they want it. I'm friendly with them. That wasn't always the way, you know. When you're trying to establish yourself, you can feel a little bit threatened by other people in the business and stuff like this. But, you know, once you're confident that you know what you're doing, you can relax, you can forget all that.
Yeah, that's good. That's a very mature approach, man. Some people don't think like that as well. And but I feel like the personal trainer community is definitely different. And like you said, it is big, it's huge. There's plenty of us go around. We're all overweight, so I'm sure like there's plenty of people always want to get better, get fitter. I feel like in this generation as well, people are more concerned about their health. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed as well is what people's thoughts are on nutrition. Now, veganism is new as well. Well, I'd say it's new. It's always been around, but it's definitely become more popular, I would say. But it depends on for what reason. I've never tried veganism myself. I've tried being vegetarian, but I do take some lessons from people who are vegan, as long as they're not too preachy with it. Where I know that you had an experience of doing veganism for, I think you're still doing it, right? You started it in January, if that's correct.
Now, yeah, I'm still doing it now.
Okay,
so my best. Yeah.
So prior to that, was you a big meat eater? Did you think about the same thing about the protein situation as well? Like, where am I gonna get my protein from? That kind of stuff. Talk us through that.
I've never been obsessive about my nutrition. Yeah, so my rule is to, one, be calorie aware, and two, prioritize the protein. And I have done a period of counting calories, and I do when I feel like I need to, of counting calories and making sure that I hit protein goals. But it's, you know, you don't want to live in that food bubble of, oh, I don't feel comfortable going out to socialize with my friends because I'm not going to be able to hit my food target. What if we order burgers? Is it going to set me back? You know, I don't like that. I don't like that negative aspect of it. So I've always tried to preach, you know, just balanced, healthy nutrition, right down the middle. That's what I found has always been the best way.
And good quality food as well.
You do have to know your calories though, so you do have to do a period of calorie counting to know what your foods are like, and it better informs your calorie awareness.
Yeah.
But to live on MyFitnessPal is no way to live.
Yeah, because I think that for me, I've done a stage of that, and when I started putting stuff in MyFitnessPal, for example, is that it's not so much about for me anyway, it wasn't so much about the calories. It's you realize how much fat is in everything, how much sugar is anything, and I feel like some people focus more on the calorie counting, and they're like, oh, it's under the calorie, and not realizing that it might be under the calories, but it's high in fat, it's high in sugar. Do you think people are really aware of those aspects, or people are more concerned about calories?
Depends on where you're at in your fitness journey, I'd say. It depends on where you're at with in your fitness journey. I think the first thing is to, if you're too high in your fat and your sugar consistently, then you won't be under calorie target most of the time.
Of course, yeah.
And in fact, if you think about your food diary, you don't want to think, oh, I've hit goal today, or I hit goal yesterday, or I've done well this week. You want to have a look at 30 days, and you want to see, you know, am I in 30 days, am I on target or under target or over target? You know, what does it look like in 30 days? Nutrition you can't see as a day-to-day thing. Even a week-to-week thing is quite a small way to think about nutrition, but it's much better to think about it like that because it's a more digestible chunk. But really, you want to think, you know, in terms of 30 days.
Well, yeah, because did they say that a fitness, well, if we're talking about actual, as opposed to diet and more fitness-based stuff like the actual training itself, did they say most workout programs, you should give it about six or 8 weeks, right?
To see
results,
any sort of like changes.
Yeah, because then you get your newbie gains, and then there's dips, etc. So they say is it 6 to 8 weeks, which is a good.
Everybody's a little bit different. It depends on what your starting point is. Yeah, there's too many factors there. If somebody's really overweight and we get them in the gym and we just start moving them about and get them to start recording their food, they're gonna see fat dropping off, you know, within 4 or 5 days, they're going to see some progress. If somebody's an experienced lifter, it may take a little bit longer. You know, so there's lots of factors that play into that. That's another thing that I want to talk about, is these numbers that people throw out. 6 to 8 weeks and 4, you know, do away with all of that. Yeah. Everybody is different, depends on where you're at in your journey.
Yeah. And where do you think genetics play into it? Because some people believe that the body types as well, the ectomorphs and there's the 3 body types, I've forgotten what they are. I think one of them's like
ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph.
Those are the ones. So do you think
they throw me a trick question there?
That's it.
Try to catch me out.
Because the thing is, I don't know. Is it something which actually exists? Does it really affect how you think or what?
Exercise is for everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely
everybody, regardless of genetic, body type, age, gender, place in the world, psychological issues. Exercise is for absolutely everybody. It's for endomorphs as much as mesomorphs. The question is you seem to be getting at body shape and how you look.
Yeah, well, yeah, my thing is because some people, I know some guys who are built differently, so they say, oh, it might be harder for them to lose fat because they're heavier set based on them. And then also you have different sorts of people who might have a slimmer frame, but can't put on it. But if they put on too much,
there's benefits in all these frames, and it's all about playing to your strengths. All of these frames have their benefits. You know, an endomorph is a naturally strong guy. You know, generally have nice strong legs. Some mesomorphs have very, very weak legs. Yeah. So everybody's a little bit different, and in fact, that's a bit more of a scale. So everybody's a mix of a couple of those things. You can be a mesomorph with endomorphic traits.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're talking very much about body shape sort of stuff.
Yeah. Because I'll go to that topic in a minute because I'm going off topic, but yeah, because it is something, because you know the thing is, for me, you get so much information from so many different sorts of people who don't train, people who train all the time, people who are like Gainsborough, who've got that bro science type of mentality, people who think they know it, and it's like your lifestyle doesn't suggest that you do. It's just a lot of information, and it's just as a qualified PT, I feel like it's your job to kind of streamline the real information, take out the rubbish to what's the facts and so forth.
You've nailed it. You've nailed it.
Because
what I try, the best tip I give my bods is, you know, if you have a human body, it is your duty to be a student of that body.
Nice.
You know, do your own research, come back to me, tell me some stuff. You know, an interesting thing that I do when I write somebody a program is I write them a program which fits around them. And I tell them, look, here's an aspect that I think you need to work on. Let's say it's hamstring strength. And after we've been training together a couple of months, I say, right, what I want to do is I want you to go away, and I'm going to leave an exercise free in your program. I'm going to call it free exercise. And what I want you to do is I want you to own this journey. You go away, you find an exercise that you think targets what you need to improve on, and you come and show me. And that's sort of like, that's one of the most valuable things I do with my guys. It really makes them think about owning that journey. You have to take responsibility for it.
Yeah, I feel that's good, and it gives them a sense of control as well, where they feel like they're not just being told, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to get, and everything else. Actually, we got some questions actually in the chat, so I'm gonna go through them. So there's a couple of them. So let's have a look. So we've got Kelly P, who's saying about you're looking forward to going back to the gym. We've actually got one of your older clients on here, and he says about it is diet is 80%, and it's 20% for weight loss. And then hold on. Another guy, AC. Oh, what's up, AC? AC was saying about everybody's different, and you can't copy someone's lifestyle, diet, and training program. So do you feel that's true? And that's
very, very true. It's personal training. You know, there's no point. I have all the time in my day to dedicate towards my health and fitness. My clients do not. That's what they're paying me for. My job is to find a solution. You know, is to deliver them a solution to their situation. And that's why I don't like cookie cutter programs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's better if we can find something which matches to you. But there were some other good questions there. What was the other one there about 80%?
One of your client, it was one of your former clients. He was saying about, is it 80%? It's 80% diet and then 20% actual to do with exercise. Because you know, with that whole thing of
which client's that?
Jez.
Yeah. Okay. I would say it's 100% nutrition and it's 100% exercise. They're two different things. Yeah. Once you really embark on nutrition 100%, you focus on nutrition 100%, you think of them as two different topics, that's the best way to think. It's 100% exercise and it's 100% nutrition. They're two different things.
I've got one of the biggest ones actually before, when I was talking about it during the week on my other stream, one of the big questions I got from a lot of people was to do with injuries. I know you do specialize with injuries. Like, so there's a guy here who's actually a regular on our slot stream, which is C4, and he said he's injured his knee and he's got surgery. And after the surgery, he's flexing his knees. Yeah. So what is it? I think it's one knee. And he said after the surgery, his flexibility in his knees increased, and he's been going to rehab for it, but it doesn't seem to help. And is there any tips to increase the flexibility in his knee, which you would suggest just based on that information?
I can't give prehab exercises out without assessing the individual and the situation. So a couple of general tips that I can give you is to own the journey. No medical professional, no physiotherapist can give you all of the solutions. Yeah, like I said before, you should really, take responsibility, do your research, use YouTube, use these sources that are available to you. And, it's your injury. It's your body. You've taken, you own that.
Yeah.
Take your time. Injuries take time.
Yeah.
Work around them. Also vary the movements. This is what a lot of people fail to do is, they get in the realm of, I'm working on these compound moves, deadlift, squat, bent over row. And, they're not doing any yoga or tennis or climbing or whatever it is, vary the movements, vary the workouts as well. Bring a bit of variety to the table.
I definitely see that in yours, because for 1 minute I see you doing rock climbing. I know you've done a lot of rock climbing when everything was open. Yoga, calisthenics, I think as well. I've seen you do the 5K runs. So I definitely feel like it's exactly what you're saying. It's the mix of exercises really, really, really matter, because it keeps you motivated as well. I mean,
I would say I have too many hobbies.
No, you can't have too many hobbies. They're positive hobbies. They're good, right?
Yeah.
Because my thing is definitely, for me personally, mine is, weightlifting and then playing football and then running. I need to get more motivated with running. I think
that's great.
Yeah. Is that enough? Is that not enough? I don't need to do a few more.
You're doing a good job. Weightlifting, running, playing football, something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Something that puts pressure in your cardiovascular system, elicits the changes that you want to see, decrease blood pressure, improve resting heart rate, improve cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
Weightlifting, putting pressure on your musculoskeletal system, eliciting the changes you want to see from that, and improve bone mass density, muscular mass, blood quality.
And hill sprints as well. That's another one I've been doing.
You're doing the most.
I mean, this is the thing. I'm doing the most when I'm in London, but now I'm not in London. I'm only really doing the gym, and now they've shut that. I mean, I have tried to do some running over here as well, because it's easier and the environment is more pleasant to look at. So that's pretty good. But what I found, actually, I don't know if I had this conversation with you or it was another friend of mine, is that when I tried to drastically cut back on meat for an extended period of time, and I noticed that when I started doing that, my 5K runs were a lot better. I think my fastest ever has been 21 minutes. And a friend of mine, he used to play football,
21 minutes?
Yeah, it was a while ago, to be fair. But
Good.
it was maybe maybe July. I want to say July. No, it was 24 minutes in July. But what I found is that I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was saying that it's different though, because he used to play football, and he's like, they expected them to run a 5K in like 15 minutes. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. I won't be doing it. I go, if I can get it to 20, I'll be happy with that. I'm not super. So then I can be like, I'm a borderline athlete. Borderline athlete. Yeah, but I definitely found that. And I feel like one of those big factors for me personally was the reduction of meat, and also what my sleep pattern was like in the quality of sleep. I feel like that's something which is definitely needs to be spoke at a lot more. I don't know if that is something you speak about a lot, about the quality of sleep, recovery of the muscles, and all these things as well.
I haven't yet, but I have got something coming.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
wicked.
So watch this space. I am gonna speak about. I just want to make sure that I collate my thoughts and clarify them on the matter before I put them out there. But I have got something planned.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because that's definitely something which I see a lot on the sort of things that I follow on Instagram and whatnot, but it's not something that a lot of my friends who train mention. They're like, it's more, I need to get my protein levels in, or I need to train. So they're not so much, okay, I need to make sure I have enough sleep to recover. So that's always something which I think people might undervalue.
If I don't sleep enough, my efficiency at work is poor.
Yeah.
So I know that I need to get to bed when I get to bed. If I don't have those hours, I'm done for. And then you can because I'm one-on-one with people, you can't hide.
Of course, yeah.
There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, it's just
so you can't sort of like,
hide in the back.
Down.
Hide in the back.
Yeah, you can't hide.
Sleep in the toilet.
Very much at the forefront. So it is actually very good in that way, because it keeps you on your toes and it makes sure that you are catching your sleep and watching your food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to the thing that you said about activity.
Yeah, hit me.
Because there's something that that I really feel passionately about, and that is that the first rule of thumb is to find something that you enjoy. If you find something you enjoy, you're more likely to adhere to it and therefore reap the benefits of that. Even if that is a little bit less efficient than lifting weights or doing a 5K run, as you said. If you enjoy football more, five-a-side football more, do that. That's step number one. Find something you enjoy, activities that you enjoy. Not just enjoy the benefits that they bring you, but actually enjoy whilst you're taking part in them.
Yeah, I think that fills in a lot to motivation. You won't feel like, oh, I've got to go to the gym, I've got to go this. If, like you said, you're doing an activity you enjoy. And previously based on what I've seen, if you do the rock climbing, is something that you and someone else told me about. And they always say, oh, it's so good, man, it's so thing. Because it doesn't feel like you're exercising, but it doesn't feel the same way where you feel, I have to go to the gym to...
Exactly. I enjoy it. So when I'm there, I don't feel like I'm not thinking I'm here working out. I am there working out, for sure I'm working out. But it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like I've got 5 more sets to do and I'm in agony and, I'm not enjoying it or whatever. Yeah. I'm actually enjoying the process of it. And when I'm there climbing, another great thing I love about climbing is the variety of patterns that you have. In the gym, even though we're very compound and we try and be as compound as possible, by that I mean moving through lots of different planes of movement. So, for example, the deadlift is a hip hinge dominant knee flexion. And by that, I mean you're hinging from the hips more than you're flexing from the knees. That's the category of movement that the deadlift is in, which is very compound. So there's more than one thing going on. But rock climbing is even more so. Yeah, I can have one hand here and one hand up there and 1 foot here and 1 foot there, targeting muscles that you didn't even know that you had, in stabilizing the joint, in moving the joint. So that's the same with football, for example. When you do football, you might do a side step. Yeah, you're using muscles in a way that you might not be using in your resistance program in the gym.
Yeah, because that's actually it's funny you say that about the using your muscles in different ways. It made me think of yoga and Pilates and stuff like that. Like, I can't bend for shit. Like, I'm in yoga and I'm like, ugh, like I feel like an old man. But and then you see these older people and they're just naturally doing it, and I was like, fucking hell, man, I feel so rigid. But I feel like that's more to do with just regularly going and building it like that, and just getting your body used to it, right?
The first yoga class I went to, I'm telling you, it was so frustrating. Yeah, I came out of there, I was frustrated. Um, but what I did is I just found someone that I liked on YouTube, that I just liked their style. Um, I made it my own journey, so I owned it a little bit, and I followed it from there. And I'm not going to say I got to a good level, but I got better.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much of a chore. Yeah, and I learned to it, and I enjoyed it a lot more. And then some of those moves that I was doing at the beginning, that were really, really tough, they ended up being some of my favorite moves. Yeah. There is a part of that, suck it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And get on with it.
Well, it takes me to another thing, because that's obviously body weighted stuff, right? A form of stretching and the rest of it. It brought me into calisthenics. I see a lot of guys who are involved in this calisthenics lifestyle now. Especially with the rise of lockdown and people not being able to get to the gym. You see a lot more people in the park, for example, using all the bars and all that kind of stuff. What's your thoughts on that, on the calisthenics side of training?
Fantastic. Great way to elicit the resistance goals. I wish I was much better at them, but I'm not.
Because I see these guys doing these flips and muscle ups, and even a muscle up is
very impressive stuff. What they do is super, super impressive. Yeah, and in fact, actually, I always wanted to improve my pull-ups a little bit. I do have 2 permanently dislocated shoulders, so that does hold me back a little bit when it comes to the full extension, especially with my body weights hanging on it, because it does just make them crick. But yeah, just finding my own pattern with it. I've got into it a little bit more, and I feel the benefits of it. Being able to manage your own body weight is a really satisfying thing.
Did you say you have dislocated shoulders? Fucking hell, how did that happen?
I've got 2 permanently dislocated shoulders. Look.
Oh.
And my ACJ just sticks out like that. Sorry.
No way. Is that an injury you've had, or is that just ongoing?
It's injury from playing rugby.
Oh, of course. Yeah, because I remember you used to play rugby. Yeah, I remember. Jesus.
You can't be an injury specialist PT with no injuries, Rob.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. This is another thing. This is a lot of the questions that people have come to me. Actually, I was speaking. Well, there's 2 questions. I know that C4, which is a gentleman who was speaking about the knee, the issue he had with the knee. He was just saying he's got PCL surgery. And he's just wondering if you know anything about that, or you'll be able to contribute.
As I said before, I cannot. It's outside of my remit and my insurance to sort of give people blanket statements on injuries. If an individual comes to me and we can assess them, I can give you some more clarity on that, but I can't put something out on the internet.
So don't try and get him sued, man. Okay, well, there's another question that someone was asking about.
But going back to that,
hit me.
C4, own the journey. Accept that you do have an injury, that it's now part of your life, and work around it. Find ways of working around it. Do a bit of research. Anything that you're doing that hurts you directly, gives you acute pain, stop. Don't do too much. Take your time. Be patient, and in the same breath, challenge it a little bit. Another thing I want to talk about then, C4, is that physiotherapy, like any other aspects of your general health, needs to have some progression to it. So doing the same movements is good to a point, but you should also progress those movements. Does it make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
So I'll give you an example. For my shoulder, a lot of the blanket exercises are this external rotation here, which is a really good movement. But one thing that I start to do is, once I get to here, is then push it out from the side and then bring it back in. Yeah, so there's a progression using variety. That has been really good for the rehab of that.
Yeah. Someone was asking me actually about what supportive type of training should a martial artist working through regular injuries consider doing to help? I know that there's certain stuff you might not be able to talk about, but what is your thoughts on those kind of sports as well? Actually, that's quite an interesting point.
So like regular impact injuries are we talking about?
Yeah, I imagine so, yeah.
I mean, I used to do a little bit of fighting myself, but I give it up just because the volume of injuries that you pick up is just not worth it for me personally, because it's my job to be a PT. So constantly being injured and turning up to sessions with black eyes is not a good look.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But constantly working around those sorts of injuries. I mean, you're a martial artist, dude. That's what you do. Get on with it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, yeah, because it is.
Talking about joint injuries, if we're talking about regularly picking up joint and soft tissue injuries,
yeah,
you're doing too much.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to bring down the level. You're working at a level that is beyond you if these are happening regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there might be an aspect of your health and wellness you're overlooking.
Yeah.
So, especially as a martial artist, you want to make sure that you've got good flexibility. You know, if your flexibility is poor, you're going to pick up an injury doing something like martial arts at some point. Again, if your strength is lacking in certain regards, you're going to pick up an injury. If you're fighting or sparring with people who are beating you regularly, you're going to pick up injuries. So if we're talking about soft tissue and joint injuries, I'd say you're doing too much, and you're overlooking other aspects of your health and wellness.
And actually, that's a question I wanted to ask you. This is a more general question. I don't think this will be something more to do with your PT journey. PT is that the kind of people who spend their life dedicating to being an athlete on a professional level or semi-professional level, and then they finish their career, or they have a career-ending injury, and then there's the after effects of that. What would you give any sort of general advice, or do you have any general thoughts on if your life is dominated by from being an athlete, and then you have that injury which changes up your career or anything like that? The next step for that, what are your thoughts on that?
The very next step is to accept that, and then adapt and overcome. Find another talent that you have, and bring that to the forefront. If you've been an athlete for many years, you have a lot of experience working with other athletes, so find another role that you can fit into there.
Yeah, I think that's because that's definitely something which is, well, it actually brings me to my other point, which is about mental health as well. Mental health is massively being brought to the forefront a lot more than it was so many years ago. There's a big link between physical health and mental health. And speaking on injuries, I imagine that affects people mentally and psychologically as well. Do you find a lot of that when you speak with people?
For sure. What a great question. Any injury that you have over 6 weeks is going to affect you psychologically. And the longer that it goes on beyond that, it's going to exponentially affect you as well if you don't see any sort of improvement. So yeah, a big part of injury is, psychological as well. If you, for example, somebody who's had a bad back for 15 years or so is going to be really delicate when they come to session. They're going to want to have some special treatment around that. Yeah. But pain is a great motivator. And when people are in pain, that's when they often come and see me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, yeah, because if you're specializing in injuries and stuff like that, you'll know not to push people in a way where you'll be conscious of their own personal injury. Like you said earlier, everyone's different. So I feel like that plays a huge part into it as well. Do you feel like
you have to start where you are?
Yeah.
You can't start where you was.
Okay.
I get a lot of that with old martial artists, people that come to me who, they've been training at a certain level, and boxers and rowers and stuff like this, been training at a certain level before, and they expect to be at that level again. But, that's not the level you're at currently. You have to start where you are, and then I can help you, guide you to get to where you want to be. Yeah. But you have to start where you are, and you have to sort of like build on that with progressive overload. So ever so slightly making it a little bit tougher.
And age, I know you said earlier about everyone's got a body, everyone can train, everyone can do that depending on everything. Where do you feel about people's age into their fitness journey as well? So what I mean by that is two things. One of them is how many years they've been actively training, or alternatively, someone who feels that they're not be able to get the most out of their body based on how old they are.
Training and exercise is for absolutely everybody. You just have to try and find the activities that are acceptable, the methods that are acceptable for that individual at that stage of life that they're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for example, old people might prefer to do Tai Chi rather than a body balance class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they elicit in the same sort of benefits at different levels. So it's about finding where you're at. But exercise is for everybody at all levels. It's completely inclusive, and everybody should be training strength. You know, when I get elderly people who come to me, you know, my job is to find resistance training that suits them. That might not necessarily be back squat. It might not necessarily be weighted goblet squat into reverse lunges.
Yeah.
You know, it might not be box jumps.
Yeah.
But it is going to be something that they would consider resistance, that will elicit the benefits of resistance training. So improve muscular mass and bone mass density and blood quality and all of the classics.
Yeah. I have actually a question here. I think this guy's actually your current client, Jez. He's saying, what advice do you give to people who are sat at a computer all day?
I would say that 1 hour of exercise is not going to undo 10 hours of bad posture. I would say get off your backside every 45 minutes and move a little. You know, some of the most popular things to do, if you're sat in a chair, automatically your shoulders will roll forward a little bit because, you know, oh, here he is, Rob's adjusting his posture.
Let's have a go.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. If I'm sat like this, there's two major things that are happening. One is my bicep is constantly contracted. So my elbow's like this, so my bicep is contracted. It's in a state of contraction. The other thing is if I'm got my hands here like this and I'm typing, my chest and my shoulders are also constantly contracted. And then I'm sat down, so these rhomboids and these lower back muscles aren't doing their job of supporting the spinal structure. And so you end up doing stuff like this. So a really good solution for people that are sat down for a long period of time is to move and start with opening up those muscles that are under a state of constant contraction.
Okay.
Find 3 or 4 stretches and do them every 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's quite good actually now because a lot of people aren't obviously working from home as well, but then that factors in how they treat their health and their exercise regime when they are working from home. And obviously one of the biggest things at the moment has been the home workouts. I know we spoke about the online workouts, but there's a lot of these YouTube videos of workouts like this, workout like that. Do you feel like there's been a big talk, obviously lockdown's such an unusual thing because it's something which has never happened before, so people don't really know how to adjust in the same way. But I always think that physical health and mental health within this time is super important. So what would you say is what's the best way to keep motivated in a situation like that, in the situation that we're in?
You have to form a routine. So that's the thing. You have to change your routine. If your routine was to get up and go to the gym, and now your routine is somewhat changed because the gyms are closed, and you know you can't. It's no longer part of your routine. You have to find a routine. Once you have a routine, it's easier to stay disciplined. You keep saying motivation, but I always say that it's about discipline over motivation. You have to, we don't train. I don't train for over a decade because I've watched a motivational video on Monday. I train over a decade because I'm disciplined to do so. You know, on the days that I don't want to, I have to force myself a little bit to go, and I do always feel much better when it's done. So discipline over motivation. First of all, form a routine, stay disciplined, and find something you enjoy.
Yeah, which you spoke about.
Because then you're going to stick to it.
1 second, I'm just going to get some more light on one moment. Get some more light on something from my end. There we go. So we've got a couple more questions actually, which I thought were quite interesting. Some of them have overlapped a little. One of them is C4 again. C4, very active in here. Welcome to UK Buddy and Mimi Twitch, who've joined us. C4, he was saying about the kind of dietary supplements versus real food, and about believing if do you believe that most nutrition needs to be getting from real food as opposed to just the kind of dietary supplements? What do you think about that? Because we need
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Real food comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah, real food comes first. And in fact, you know, you don't need any supplements whatsoever. The only thing that you should take is, I mean, in the UK, we're advised to take vitamin D.
Yep, vitamin
because,
D.
you know, we don't get enough sunlight in the winter time. I mean, even the sun doesn't come to a high enough thing to penetrate and bring us vitamin D, even when it is out in the winter here. So, yeah, we should take vitamin D. But other than that, no other supplements are necessary. You can hit all of your protein goals, all of your vitamin and mineral goals from a balanced, healthy and nutritious diet.
Well, yeah, because actually it's funny you say that, because I do take supplements myself, mostly calcium, magnesium, zinc. Used to take krill oil, B12. To be honest with you, since I've been back home, I'm taking this. My parents love doing all the supplements because they're slightly older. So those are the ones that I take for myself. I think for me, it is, if I don't get them through my food, I'm not the best of eater. So I feel like they're necessary just to make sure I'm getting them. But I don't rely on them. I know a lot of people take them.
If you're eating a balanced, healthy diet with a lot of variety, you know, if you're just eating chicken and rice and broccoli, you're not going to be hitting your mineral and vitamin goals.
Oops.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
You know, you have to eat a variety of vegetables, root vegetables, green leaves, you know, all sorts of different stuff. If you need to get a balance of that, you need to get a mix.
Yeah.
You know, and then you need to make sure you're hitting your protein. Athletes, top athletes can, if they want, hit all the protein they need just from the food that they're eating. The reason that they take supplements like protein shakes and stuff like this is for ease. If I've got to eat 4,000 calories a day because I'm an Olympic swimmer, you know, I want to just take a protein shake because I can't stomach another steak or chicken breast, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you can get all of your food, especially general pop. We're all general pop. None of us are top athletes here. Yeah. We're all general pop. You can get all of your nutrition that you need, all of your protein, all your vitamins and minerals from a balanced, healthy, nutritious diet.
We got another question, but I feel like you've touched on this a little bit. This is from UK Buddy. Shout out UK Buddy. So he just said, do you think lockdown will cause a lot of people never get back into the gym? He's a gym goer himself. He's been going for years, but he feels a little bit unsettled and going back into the gym.
In which way? Like about?
I think it's maybe a mix of the fact that I don't know if he's been doing any training outside of the gym during lockdown, but I feel like the route, maybe like we spoke of, routine, the discipline and the motivation. Yeah. So just to get back in there and get back under the bar or lifting the dumbbells or what it is like here, I feel like it might be more of a mental thing. But he just thinks that, will people use this as an opportunity to dip into their return to the gym, or will it be, oh my God, I haven't been in the gym for so long because of lockdown? Or what do you think, as a general population view?
I think this COVID has been a nightmare for everybody. But if there's a silver lining behind the cloud, it's that people have recognized now that your health is your number one priority. It comes above everything else. It comes above your financial situation and everything. Your health comes first. And I think when you go back to the gym, the best thing to do is to not go too hard in the first couple of weeks. Just start with nice light weights and move some stuff about. You're going to feel that DOMS. If you haven't taken a load for a long time, you put a load on, you're going to feel it. So you're going to feel those muscles really burn. Don't do yourself any injuries by putting on too much weight in the first couple of sessions.
There's one of the things I want to speak about is more about back to sort of the nutrition and the diet side of it. There's two things. There's a question here about thoughts about working on an empty stomach, which is probably like a fasted state, and then the thoughts on intermittent fasting as well, because I know we spoke about it before, but I feel like your thoughts on that is more to do about the kind of calorie intake and outtake thing. But what are your thoughts on it? I definitely know a lot more people being involved in intermittent fasting, and now in the run up to, I think April time there might be is it April time there's Ramadan? I think Ramadan will be coming in I think next month. But basically my point is with that is that's another fasted state. And where's your thoughts on the idea of fasting and intermittent fasting and that kind of stuff?
So I didn't even know that I was doing intermittent fasting. It was just something that I did as a habit, as a routine, you know. If I wanted to lose some weight, I would skip breakfast and make sure that I prepared myself a good balanced lunch. I know when we last spoke about it, I didn't even know that I was doing intermittent fasting. I didn't even realize that it had a word, it had a name, but it has a name now.
Yeah.
And what are my thoughts on it? If you want to be in a calorie deficit, skipping a meal is not going to be a bad thing, right? Now, my issue comes when somebody is a little bit larger and they already miss breakfast. Yeah, so there's something that's not quite right there. And often these people, their blood sugar is for me an issue. So if you have an empty stomach and then you're not eating anything, and then it comes to, you know, lunchtime and you grab a biscuit and you're already a little bit obese, that sugar is going to hit your blood like a wall. Yeah. So it's better that you have something in your stomach that will slowly allow the sugar to come out. I have a very good hands-on example with this, or a client of mine who is quite large, who just come back from the doctors getting a full health assessment, and the doctor was like, you know, I'm shocked that your blood sugar is what it is. You know, I thought I was expecting it to be rocketing. And I said to him, that's great. I think personally that's implementing a breakfast, which he wasn't doing previously. But now the priority is to lose the weight. So let's skip the breakfast out 2 or 3 times a week. And that's a few less calories in the week. You know, you're going to lose a little bit of weight doing that.
Yeah. And I think also with that as well, from my basic knowledge of it, it's the time that you're fasting about making sure it's a good way to make sure you're drinking enough water as well. Because if you are in a fasted state, if you're intermittent fasting, usually the kind of rule is you only drink water, or you drink black coffee or green tea or whatever it may be. And I feel like that obviously will suppress your appetite as well, but also allow to realize that you have this thing of people think that they're hungry and they're actually thirsty. I'm sure you know about the kind of difference about that. So that's a big thing.
I found that some of my fastest PRs, my running times, have all been fasted. They've all been with nothing in the stomach, just straight out the door.
Yeah, I'm glad actually you spoke about the sugar stuff and about the blood sugar and stuff like that, because I know 1 or 2 people and their thing is like, okay, I'm fasting, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then when they're eating just cookies and crisps and high sugar stuff. So whatever way you look at it, I'm like, you're doing your fasting, that's fine, and you're trying to reduce your calories, but you're not thinking about the levels of your blood sugar as well, surely, by eating all the stuff you're eating.
I would say this. I would say that fasting is certainly an acceptable way of losing weight, of reducing your calorie intake and making sure that you're within a deficit, but it's not step one.
Okay.
Step one is, if you're putting on weight, is there something you're doing within your day-to-day nutrition that is not correct? Yeah, and so the first thing to do is to address that and adjust that. And then step 2 could be to introduce an acceptable way of speeding up your deficit. You know, intermittent fasting, as we said, is an acceptable way. For the slightly larger lads, I don't see a problem with going on a higher protein diet for a short period of time, as long as afterwards there is a period in which there's the coaching there to help people come back to a more balanced, healthy approach. So I know what people do is they love to sell this is the solution. Yeah. This is the only solution that you need. But actually, when I am assessing an individual, I first get them to do a food diary without making any changes. And then I see, all right, so he's not having breakfast, and the first thing he has is a cookie. Right. That individual doesn't need me to talk about intermittent fasting. That individual needs me to tell them about the benefits of, you know, taking breakfast on and improving their gut bacteria and their blood sugar readings. That's what they need to hear. Another person who's having a protein shake and a bowl of oats, and then going about and going, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight, because I'm eating really healthy stuff. You know, they need to understand. They might want to hear about intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's about, this is where PT is, you know, as a personal trainer. I've never succeeded in sort of like making cookie cutter nutritional exercise programs and putting them out. I know a lot of people are quite good at that, but I've never succeeded in that because I've always made sure that, you know, the advice that the individual needs to hear can often be quite personalized.
That's interesting. Yeah, I feel that as well. Actually, it's while we're talking about food as well, got another question someone was saying about the thoughts about if you're training in the morning, how long should you eat before hitting the gym? Like if you are choosing to eat to settle. He tends to feel weak and sick if I push too hard early in the morning. So do you think there's almost like when you go to swim, they say you should leave half an hour. Do you feel like there's a point if you are choosing to have breakfast and then go to the gym, is there a point that you should leave it? Do you feel like a general point? Yeah, general time frame.
Get your routine around food. Get it right. See what works for you. You know, what works for me doesn't work for you. When I was putting on a lot of weight purposefully, I would eat a saucepan of oats before I went to the gym and lift real heavy. You know, that was my goal. But now my goal is a little bit different. I don't approach it in that way anymore. Yeah. So I know it sounds like a cop-out answer, but it varies. Does depend on you. Yeah, it depends on you. You've got to find your routine and what works for you.
I think maybe in this case, I feel like maybe he should eat. If he's feeling weak and sick, if you push hard early in the morning, then maybe you should be eating more. No, right?
Yeah, you should
maybe
eat a little something.
Feeling sad as well.
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, what is he eating? What is he?
UK buddy? What are you eating? Message me. Let me know. Why he's messaging me across? I wanted to ask you about I was gonna ask you about I wanted to go back into food slightly. I know just from watching your
food, you're making me hungry.
I know. You know what it is? It's because I watch your stuff and it makes me hungry. And I'm like, oh man, I really need to do a shop. I need to do a shop and make sure I get that because I seen what I thought was really good when you was doing the veganism and you'll continue to do so. I thought that was a really good idea that you documented your journey and you documented your food prep. This is what I've got. This is all the vegetarian options I have, the vegan options I have.
Oh, yeah,
I love that. That was really good.
That was a popular video. People enjoyed that one.
Yeah, because you know what it is? I feel like sometimes people, like you were saying earlier, some people think that if you're a gym guy, you can't do this, you can't eat that. But they don't really see too much of the behind the scenes. And I think that's really important. That was really important for me. And also when you started going to getting the fresh meat from Smithfield's Market and also filleting fishmongers, filleting fish, getting fresh, like from the ground vegetables as well. I feel that's really, really important. I really enjoy that.
I enjoy my food. I think food for me is such an important part of life, and any aspect of denial around that for me is a no. I don't want any part of it. I'd rather hold a little bit more fat and not have to eat chicken breasts and broccoli and 25 grams of rice a day 4 or 5 times a day. It's not for me.
Do you think as well then, when you speak about sort of the fresh meat going to Smithfield Market, for those who don't know, in London there's a massive meat market which you can go to early in the morning, which is mostly for wholesalers and stuff, I imagine.
Yeah, I used to love it, yeah.
Yeah, so do you feel like a lot of food out now is too processed, or do you think we're going in a way of where people are being more aware of? Because what I find is some people are like, oh yeah, this is great, this is healthy, and then you read the back and it's like, okay, you've got all these E numbers inside of it, all these E numbers, all this extra sugar, all this excess fat, but it's marketed and packaged a certain way as healthy food. But with your situation just describing there, of going to the source, it's almost like going to the butchers, going to the fishmongers. Do you feel people need to do that more, not just for health reasons, but also financially? It actually works out a lot better what you can get from these places.
Oh yeah, I used to save thousands of pounds a year going to the meat market. Thousands. And I would have to buy quite a lot of meat as well because meat was part of my diet, so I'd buy quite a lot of it. But yeah, I used to save thousands of pounds a year easily.
Yeah.
You going back to the health and the health aspects of it, I've always said that people should eat meat of a higher quality, of a greater variety of cut. So you can't just tell me I only like sirloin steak. That's not acceptable. I'm sorry. If you eat beef, you have to eat the whole cow. Yeah. No, if you're going to eat beef, eat the whole thing.
Yeah, it's actually, you say that, actually, I'd seen something before. I was reading about this guy basically bought a whole pig, like obviously from the butchers all taken and stuff like that.
People do it in the market a lot.
Yeah.
People do it in that market a lot. They go there and they buy a whole pig, yeah.
And that's mad. And then they break it up into certain pints.
Bits and bobs,
yeah, that's crazy. and then the fish as well. But I really liked that video of fish because I always wanted to know how to fillet a fish. Obviously not the McDonald's burger. So the whole cutting it, doing the head, doing that, because you can see it. You can see the difference. Just literally, I'm glad you did the video, because on the video, if you haven't already, make sure you follow him on Instagram. I'll put his Instagram in here. But the whole idea of it looks different from what's in the pack, but that's good because you can see the freshness in it, as opposed to if you pick up a packet of salmon off the supermarket shelf.
I'm a real foodie, Rob.
I see it. I seen you making the little jar of, what was you making before?
I love going to the source. I love the shopping of it. I love going to the fishmonger and having a little barter with him, and I love going to the fruit and veg stall and having a bit of a backwards and a forwards and seeing what's on offer that day. If there's anything that's on offer, the other week they had limes on offer, and they had just this massive box of limes that were just, they were trying to get rid of them. £2 or something. This box was massive. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. We'll find out what I can do with these limes. And I did loads of stuff. I made lime curd, lime jelly.
Yeah, that's another thing. The sauces, strawberry jam. I've seen you made. What was that other thing you made? With the chopped carrots, the Chinese. What was it? The
kimchi.
The kimchi. That was it. The kimchi.
Kimchi's nice.
Yeah.
That, and do you know what? I love that. I love that. Preparing your own food, there's a certain satisfaction that comes with the productivity of that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And once you learn to do it as well, kimchi in the shop is expensive stuff. I bought a tin the other day because I ran out. It was like £3 for like this much. Whereas I bought all the ingredients that I need for £3, and I can make massive jars of it like that. It will last me for months.
Jam. One of the questions we got, actually, someone was saying about alcohol and about how alcohol fits into the training program. I imagine most of what you were saying earlier, it's not so much of everyone go teetotal and don't drink. It's just about, I imagine it's about what you're drinking and how much.
How much you're drinking is a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a good rule that I try and live by, and that is I never drink Monday to Thursday unless it's a really special occasion. On Friday, I get rock star drunk sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Anybody that knows me knows that we can get rock star drunk.
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things that I did out drinking was I continued to do my fitness pal on a night out, just to see, as an experiment. And my God, you have to really. Everybody should do that.
Yeah.
Everybody should do that and just see. You might think you're in a deficit of 500 calories Monday to Friday, but if you go out Saturday night, you can really mash that up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because for me, my thing is vodka and soda. That's like quite low calories and all that kind of stuff.
You're too on top of it. Drink what you like. Enjoy what you drink.
It's not a good idea. Be drunk now, mate. That and Guinnesses, basically.
Drink what you like. Enjoy what you drink. Don't drink too much.
Okay, that's good. All right.
Yeah, and I have some rules on it, and that's really worked for me, and it works for a lot of my bods as well. Anyone that I'm training goes to me, Ace, I'm drinking. They always say it after about 3 or 4 weeks, really, Ace, I'm drinking a little tip. Yeah. Most nights I'm having a bottle of wine. I go, right, well, you got to knock that on the head then, mate. Yeah. It's okay to let your hair down. It's important, but you need to bring that frequency down. Yeah, so Saturday night, a couple of beers. Sunday, half a bottle of wine with dinner or whatever, that's perfectly acceptable. Okay. But Monday, can of beer. Tuesday, 2 cans. Wednesday, 3 cans. That's got to. If you want to live a healthy lifestyle, you can't do that.
Fair enough then. And someone actually spoke about when we were talking about the kimchi. Someone was saying about why is fermenting food good for your body, and should people be adding more to it, more to their diet of it, fermented food?
Yeah, great question. So fermented foods are great for your gut microbiome. So this is your gut bacteria, and you have to think of your gut as a garden that you have to tend and weed and nourish. Yeah, and a lot of the time, if you're eating very processed and broken down foods, they're not giving you that gut bacteria. Yeah, people that have a poor diet have a very small diversity of gut bacteria, and fermented foods really helps your gut to diversify the bacteria it has. And the diversity of gut bacteria has been linked to many, many aspects of your health. Serotonin, for example, which is your happiness hormone, is produced in the gut. Yeah. So many other aspects of health as well have been linked to having a good microbiome. So it is important that you look after that. Another really good way to do it is with your carbohydrate stuff is to increase your gut resistant starch. So these are your starches that aren't necessarily broken down straight away in the stomach and the small intestine. They get through to your gut, and there's little bits there for your bacteria to eat and nourish themselves off. A really popular way is to go whole wheat. So wheat is a more resistant starch. But even if you freeze and then cook stuff, that also increases the resistant starch in there. So if I make a lasagna and I put it in the freezer and I microwave it in 3 days, the starch has become more resistant to my gut, and therefore some of those bits get through, and that's food for your gut bacteria.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, that's
you didn't know it.
I didn't know. I need to. Yeah, I need to. I know as well. So, what would you say is an example of fermented, like a bit of examples of fermented foods?
The popular ones at the moment are kimchi and kombucha.
Oh yeah. I have them.
Your European ones are your sauerkraut. Sriracha is also fermented. I'm gonna contradict myself here, but the odd pint of beer, as long as it's not too strong, that will actually help your gut microbiome.
There's
loads of sauces, whole wheat foods, pastas, brown breads.
Okay, good.
White breads that have been toasted.
That's good. Because I'm thinking, like, what do I eat which falls into that category? And I eat a few of those things, even the kombucha as well. I drink, so that's pretty good.
Kombucha's so nice.
Yeah, I got some flavored ones over here. It's crazy over here. They've got such a range.
It's expensive though, isn't it? It's expensive. That's my next project, by the way.
To make one of them.
Make a bit of kombucha, because I love it. I drink it every time I pass a shop. I buy a thing of kombucha just because I love the taste.
Yeah.
But
Well, I've got another question here. This is about thoughts on artificial sweeteners, if they're good or they're bad.
Wow. The popular belief is that they're carcinogenic, yeah? But so sugar is carcinogenic. They've both been, established as carcinogens. And I spoke with a client of mine at length because I had the same question for this guy who's a medical doctor. And I said to him, where are we? Because every time I research this, I'm getting different views every time, So he said that, he uses artificial sweeteners in some things and he uses sugar in other things, Just don't overconsume.
Fair.
I use artificial sweeteners. I'd rather have a can of Diet Coke than a full fat Coke on the occasion. Yeah. I think they're both bad. It's about finding your bad,
choosing your bad, I suppose.
Yeah, don't overuse either of them. I would say.
There's one thing I wanted to ask you as well. I don't know if you've ever seen that film, The Game Changers, on Netflix, about athletes going to veganism and the effects and stuff like that. So,
because when I started Veganuary,
you watched that.
I already decided that I was going to do it because my justification was that I am eventually going to pick up a client who is a vegan, and I can't give them any good nutritional advice whatsoever. Because I'm such a big carnivore, so I need to learn something about this. So I'd already decided that I'm going to do a course of I'm going to do Veganuary and see what challenges it throws up. And obviously, if I'm doing it, my missus has to do it as well. And so I thought the best way to get her on board was to slap Game Changers on. Because I heard that so many people watched it.
It was interesting.
Vegan. So that did work, because she's fully on board. She loves it. She has a great time with it.
Because
she's seen a lot of benefit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I wasn't sure of how much of it was was gas and how much of it was actual, truth. And well, I don't know. What do you think? Since you've started it, has it improved your fitness journey? Not just your nutrition journey, but your fitness journey.
I think definitely decreasing my meat consumption has had a positive effect on my cardiovascular and aerobic fitness. Yeah, a change in diet has improved my cardiovascular and aerobic fitness. It is harder to catch protein, but it's not impossible. It's, I'm doing it regularly. And
what about your energy levels?
My energy levels are good, but my energy levels are always good. I'm an active guy. My energy levels are always good.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I will say about that particular aspect of it is that when I eat a meal with meat in it, I have to think, if I'm going to train, I have to give it 45 minutes and, maybe I have to give it an hour. Like your man was saying earlier about going to the gym on an empty stomach. I think, if I go for a run, I'm just going to be really heavy. I might get a bit of cramp. I'm going to have to give it. I can basically, if I wanted to, eat something and get out the door, go and train. So it does give me, increases the opportunities that are available to me to just go out and train and go for it.
Yeah, because when I cut meat, I think for me personally, when I cut back on meat significantly, I definitely felt, because I was in a stage where I'd have so many days where I didn't eat meat, and then a day I would eat meat, for example. And sometimes I'd be in bed and I couldn't go to sleep because I got too much energy. So, and it's literally just,
really?
That was the only change. It's like climbing the walls. I imagine that's what people in drugs feel like. So it's just like, and then like I said, that's the time my running times got faster, my 5Ks got faster when I was playing football.
My 5Ks right now are getting much faster. In fact, the PB today.
Yeah, and then
you said your PB was 21. Now I'm embarrassed.
No, because the thing is, I want to try and get it around 24, 25, and I'll be as long as it's under 30. I mean, I've had bad ones as well, of course, but I definitely found like when I was, like I said, cutting back on the meat and eating more veggie stuff and more veggie/vegan stuff. Even when I play football, we play football for 2 hours, and after the 2 hours, I'm fucked. I'm not gonna lie. But after when I was doing that, the vegetarian, I was like, let's keep going. Oh, we're not playing anymore. Let's keep going.
I've noticed the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm like, let's keep going. Who's left? Who's staying?
Before a 10K would end me.
Yeah.
I'd do a 10K. I'd come home and be like, right, that's it. I'm ended.
Yeah.
But now I do a 10K. I'm not challenged cardiovascularly. I always think, I should have pushed it a bit more.
Yeah. What's your 10K times like?
Oh, my latest one was, I think it was 46 minutes and 40 something seconds. It was quite quick.
That's very good.
I had a really good playlist on.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for me, I'm about 90 kilos.
Yeah.
And so actually.
And how tall are you roughly?
178, 179.
Okay, yeah. So yeah. Oh, that's not 90 kilos. Well, yeah, with your height and weight, that kind of it edges up quite well, doesn't it? About 70 kilos, because I'm 83 in the moment, and I'm like 178, I think 179 as well. So not too far from you. So, but I'm about 83 at the moment, which is kind of the heaviest I've been. I think that's the heaviest. The heaviest I've been is around 12 stone, 8 pounds, which is, I don't know how much that is in kilos.
I got to at one point when I was trying to bulk. I was bulking. I got to 96 kilos.
Jesus, that's...
Yeah, I know, and I was strong. I was really, really strong, but my fitness did start to suffer a little bit, and then something that I wish that I paid more attention to when I was bulking was to just do it a little bit slower.
Okay.
Because I did it in quite a quick way, and it meant that I've now got the excess fat, and that's the hard bit. Is bringing the fat off after you've bulked up. But bulking up's easy.
Yeah, it's
if you eat the excess calories and hit the gym, train really, really hard. Yeah. You'll put on the muscle. So you'll put on some fat with that as well.
Yeah. So we've got a couple more questions. One of them is actually from C4, but I think you've answered this one. He was just saying, why does he feel tired when he's eaten really well and got 8 and 10 hours sleep and he still feels tired? I think that might be to do with his iron intake potentially. I don't know.
Just directly after you've eaten?
Well, he said, why do I sometimes feel really tired when I've eaten really well and got an 8 to 10 hours sleep and he still feels tired? So I'm guessing that's afterwards. I think. Is that right,
Have a look at
C4?
your hydration. Have a look at your activity levels. I'm not going to say
Blanket
a metal supplement straight away. It might be the answer, but it might not. And me saying that would be a bit stupid. But first thing would be to manage that nutrition, manage that hydration. Have a look at your hydration levels. Have a look at the variety of vitamins and minerals that you're taking in when you've eaten well, as you say. Yes, have a look. Make sure you're getting a good variety of those.
And one of the others was your thoughts on the high cholesterol levels in today's society. Many people have it in unhealthy levels. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that foods fortified with fats and sugars have been ever more increasingly common in the Western diet since the end of World War II. Just trying to get excess. At those times, people wanted to get excess calories. They really needed the energy. So if you put a bit of fat and sugar in stuff, it wasn't a bad thing. But that is become something else now. Yeah, and now we have to really, step back, take a little step back from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big issue.
It's definitely a thing that you see a lot more. Yeah, I think it's just. I feel like maybe it's too much choice, especially when you factor in so much. I mean, just look, you got Deliveroo. I'm bashing these guys, but you got Deliveroo, you got Uber Eats, you've got takeaways everywhere. In America, it's a completely different ballgame. Oh my days! Have you been to America? Because in America, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I went there and I put on.
Every time I train a client for fat loss and we make massive progress, and they go to me, "Oh, Asa, I'm going on holiday to America," I just go, "Oh,
it's done. It's done."
I know that. I just think, we're gonna undo everything.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. I went there for 2 weeks and I came back and I put on like maybe 10 kilos in 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, quite a lot. But
I do the same. I do the same when I go to Italy.
Yeah, because it was my friend.
I go to Italy for an extended period of time.
Yeah. Because my friend, he was training over there, and he needed to put on weight because he was a semi-pro golfer and he wanted to put weight on. So we were eating quite frequently. We're eating at every couple of hours intervals, and he struggles to put on weight. But it's not that difficult for me to put on weight. Like, it's quite easy for me to put on weight. So that was the thing. But there's just so much choice. I feel that's what it is. There's so much choice, but then also, that it's processed.
You have to live the lifestyle that you want to live.
Yeah.
That you want to lead. Do you know what I mean? That nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to take ownership of what goes in your gob. There's a great quote that some people need to understand that they can eat that donut and still be healthy.
Yeah.
And other people need to understand that they don't have to eat that donut and still be happy.
What's your thoughts then on the mix between body positivity mixed with fat shaming, mixed with body acceptance?
I think that if there is an aspect of your physical appearance that is affecting your health, your physical health, very directly, negatively, it's your duty to do what you can to negate that.
Do you think we're glorifying obesity in some ways? And what I mean by that,
Rob,
the way let me give you a scenario of what I mean. So what I mean by that is a big thing is the body positivity, which I'm all for. Go body positivity. But I also feel like sometimes there's body positivity, and then there's someone's quite dangerously overweight. I know there was an issue before. They had an obese woman on the front of Cosmopolitan, and they were saying about his body positivity. But is it body positivity, or is it more about glorifying obesity? I don't think people are glorifying obesity on purpose. But that may be I think that people, if you are obese, the reality is that when you die from an obesity-related disease, it is not pretty. Yeah, it's a very slow process that affects your friends and your family, in a very strong way. And it's not pretty. It's a slow and painful death. Nothing about
nothing about carrying. I mean, it's okay to carry some excess fat, but if you can lose it and you need to lose it, you should lose it. I saw a post the other day that was giving people advice about how to stop your doctor bringing up your weight when they go in, and I thought that was really damaging.
Yeah.
You know, because people that have obesity obviously have some complex psychological issues around food and their lifestyle, you know, and they want to do what they, you know, they should change that. They should change that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, I don't think it's, my own personal opinion, I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it's an issue. Let me rephrase this. So
you're the one that brings up the question.
Oh, don't worry. I have my own thoughts on it. I do think, I'll tell them right now, boy. I would say that I do feel like they glorify obesity. It's definitely done more so in women than men. I believe so. I believe the whole, body positivity, and there's body positivity, but if someone is dangerously obese, and they're talking about body positivity.
Yeah, you're right. There's a line that it crosses.
Yeah, it's sending mixed messages, and I feel like as a country, UK country, and just more as a Western country anyway, we tend to pander a lot, and people aren't really frank with people, and they should be, because it's damaging your health, because it affects everything else in your life. For example, if you are morbidly obese, like you said about going to the doctors, if you go to the doctors and you're a large person, especially in this case, I'm gonna go for women. If you're a large woman, it's gonna be difficult. If then you're thinking about maybe having a child, it's gonna impact that a lot. Your weight will impact it. It's the same with anything. It's the same with different scenarios. But I feel like saying, "Oh no, you're perfect the way you are," when you should always
look to improve yourself.
I agree.
You say to somebody who, you know, you stay at that, your intellectual level is fine, you shouldn't look to improve your intellectual level at all. That's, you know, you should just stay exactly where you are. Don't learn anything else. You know, we wouldn't say that to somebody who we're talking about their intellect. You know, we would say, look, I think you should, you know, you would say to yourself, hopefully, you know, I would endeavor to improve my learning. And I think your body is the same. You should always endeavor to improve it. But I will give you an example. I trained a number of doctors, actually, and one doctor in particular I trained. He is a very specialist in a. I'm not going to mention what it is.
Yeah, no worries.
But I'm not going to mention what it is. But he's a doctor in a very special
field.
What would you call it? A niche. Yeah. And after training with him and helping him to lose quite a bit of weight, and to be more active in his day-to-day, he said to me, look, Ace, it's even changed what I do now in my practice. So when somebody comes to me in my practice, I used to give them, you know, well, here's the issue, here's a medicine. Here's the issue, here's another medicine, here's a pill or a course of injections or whatever. Yeah. And he says now the very first thing he does is puts them on the scales. And if they're overweight, he goes, right, well, first thing you want to do, you want to improve this aspect of your health is, you know, lose a little bit of weight. That'll work. And he sent me a lot of referral clients in this way.
Nice. Yeah, I think that plays a part. I'm glad you said that. I feel like the whole just, take this and it'll be fine, when you need to go back to the core of stuff.
The core, yeah. People that are looking for sort of like quick fixes. When people realize that, you know, there is no quick fix. You know, once you take a medication, it's going to give you another issue and another medication for that issue. No, so go to the source of the issue. What is the source of the issue? Are you moving enough? Are you eating the right foods? Are you getting a good variety in your diet? Are you getting a good variety of movement? If you're answering no to, are you moving enough in the day? If you're answering no to any of those questions, then the first step should be adjusting those.
I understand. So I've got one quick question here, and then we're probably going to look to round it up soon. C4, once again, very active here with the questions. What's your favourite type of fibre to eat as a vegetarian or a vegan currently?
You get so much fibre. Fibre's not the problem. I mean, the best thing that somebody said to me, because the first week I was doing the veganism, I was really pissed off. I just didn't feel like I was getting what I needed to get. Yeah, and I'd look for all these replacements. I was having like replacement sausages and replacement chicken and, you know, fake fish and all this sort of stuff. And somebody goes, no, Ace, you know, the thing about plant-based diets is you have to actually eat plants. And then once I understood that, that changed the game. I was like, okay, I see. In order to eat, it's a very simple thing, right?
Yeah.
But in order to eat a plant-based diet, you have to actually eat some plants, some real plants. And once he said that, it fell into place.
Yeah. Will you continue doing it now for the foreseeable future? What's your plan with this? With the
I don't
veganism?
mind the odd transgression. You know, I don't mind the odd transgression. The restaurants haven't opened yet.
Yeah. And when they do, then we'll really see who's about it.
Yeah, when they do, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I must say, I have thoroughly enjoyed the challenge and the benefits that it's brought. Decrease in my, you know, the benefits have been massive. Decrease in my meat consumption has brought me in my life. I have enjoyed it. You know, I don't mind the odd transgression. If you have 40, the average person has 40 meals a week. If 39 of those are plant-based, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
You know?
And you was vegetarian for a while as well.
I was a vegetarian a long time ago. Yeah, I was a bit. And those days, that was a long time ago. That was before I was a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But those days, that was hard work.
Okay.
You know, you couldn't eat anything.
Well, how long ago was that, would you say?
What? You know, it was about...
We're 2021 now.
16, 17, 18, something like this.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's hard to put a finger on it, really.
Yeah. Okay. So, and yeah, you're right. Actually, there are a lot more options, veganism options, veggie
Massive.
options than
I
there
was
was there.
so shocked when I went to the supermarket. I was like, "What? You can eat all of this stuff? This is all plant-based stuff now."
Yeah.
When I did last time, I literally had to get every day for dinner a tin of chickpeas. That's it.
Oh, I was waiting for more than chickpeas. Yeah.
Tin of chickpeas, you know, some other green leafy vegetables. You know, that's all we had. Tofu wasn't even a thing. You know, tofu you got in really specialist upmarket shops. I was living in Shepherd's Bush Market. You know, so tofu wasn't really a popular dish. I'd never heard of it.
What do you think about jackfruit? Actually, I really got into jackfruit.
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh man, you got to try jackfruit.
Yeah, is it good? I've got a tin in the cupboard.
You want it? Oh, okay. So what I do, because this is the thing with that, I treat it like meat. So I'll like with the jackfruit, you just peel it apart, and it's almost like pulled pork. So you season it. You can put it in.
You're talking the most food stuff, Rob.
Right.
You're killing me.
And then you shred it up. You season it, because you should season your veggies. Someone was telling me at work one time, they're like, yeah, you got to season your veggies. Just treat it like meat almost, like you still season them. So you season it, and then it becomes shredded, and you can put it in wraps and tacos. It's really good for stuff like that. So, and you can get it from all of these kind of health kind of places that do any kind of that. They do jackfruit wraps with cheese or whatever it may be, you know? So the vegan wraps, yeah. Well, obviously cheese alternatives or whatever it may be.
I haven't tried it. I've got a tin in the. You think a tin's good, yeah?
Yeah, tin's good because there's quite a lot in the tin. So I'd shred it out because it's like if you can get like a whole jackfruit itself. If you can try the burgers, jackfruit burgers and jackfruit wraps, those are the best.
Beyond Meat burger from GB.
Oh yeah, they're good and meatless as well. Yeah, Beyond Meat and meatless.
Beyond Meat, I took a bite and I was like, I had to Google it again. I had to leave it go cold. I was like, nah, hang on, no.
Yeah, it's good. It's really delicious. Yeah. It's really good, and that's the thing. It's good because before it used to everything which was vegetarian or meat alternative didn't taste great, and now they've managed to find a way and do a lot more. So I'm really so now I'm gonna go and have a chicken kebab. No, joking. So yeah, but I think it's definitely something people should try and get in thing, because I enjoyed it when I'm doing it, and you definitely do feel the benefits. But I think one of the final questions I've got from someone here, Jez, is that what you most looking forward to when lockdown ends?
Going rock climbing, going to an Airbnb, going for a nice long hike. So many things. Going to the pub, seeing some pals. Going to the gym. I know a lot of PTs can't wait for the gyms to open, but I've really enjoyed this period of training without the gym and having a look at different other aspects and stuff like this. But yeah, rock climbing, hiking, pub with the boys, and gyms.
Just activities as a whole, I guess, right?
Restaurants. Oh, the list goes on, man. Yeah. The list goes on.
Free us up, Boris. Free us up. But what I'll do is we'll round it off here. I just want to say thank you for you for staying with us. Thank you to everyone who joined in the stream. Thank you very much for your questions. This is going to be available. The audio is going to be up on SoundCloud as well, Snapbacks and FlatCaps, also Spotify. So make sure you give those a follow. The video will be available for those who have missed it on my Twitch channel, which is YourHostRob. Thank you once again to Asa who's joined us, taking the time out to join us. Just really appreciate it. Hope a lot of the guys learned something. Hope a lot of your questions got answered. If you do want more information on Asa, I'm going to put his Instagram here in the chat, so make sure you give him a follow as well. For those who join us on the late night slots, I'll be streaming tonight as well. So make sure you guys come and see me on that as well. And in the meantime, Asa, you stay there for me. I'm just going to log off the stream, but I'll stay there so we can wrap everything up. But thank you once again. All right, let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you again soon. Thank you very much. And we are out of here.